Hey there, Liz at Hook's Greenhouse, and I am here in front of this whole cart of strawberries, and we are going to do a little informational talk about how to grow strawberries, what varieties we have, what the prices are, so that you're ready to start getting these planted in the ground as soon as the weather gets a little bit better and maybe we have some dry soil. So I'm going to start here with some of these varieties. We're going to go over, I do have two different types of strawberries. We have ever-bearing strawberries. We also have June-bearing strawberries. So the difference is that ever-bearings, those are the ones that are going to give you a crop throughout the season. So maybe the fruit isn't going to be as big, but it is going to be a consistent fruit throughout the season. Where a June bearer, just like the name says, is in June. So one nice big crop of strawberries in June. So here we have Honey Eye. This one is great for beginners. It's a high yielding. It has very good success at wintering over in our cold climate, but just a really good flavor, really good crop, nice easy one. These plants are gorgeous. For our flats, you get 12 in a flat. They're in a 1-pack. So if you just need one or two, you can get a 1-pack here. These are $1.99. If you do a full flat of 12 of them, it's $17.99. So Honey Eye June bearing strawberry. So next I have another June bearer. This is All Star. All Star's a great high yield one. This one is a good one for beginners, very cold hardy. The best thing about All Star is it's a little more disease resistant than like the Honey Eye and a couple other varieties. So if you ever have an issue with any diseases on your strawberries, I would definitely suggest doing this All-Star. Good flavor, good size fruit, just a nice easy grower. So now we move into the Ever-Bearers. So these are considered a daylight neutral strawberry. So high yielding. The best part about Ozark Beauty is that it has a good size fruit. Even though it's going to give you fruit throughout the season, the fruit is still a good size as opposed to some of the others, it's just a little bit smaller. So Ozark Beauty, easy, high yielding, good flavor. You can plant this in the ground, you can plant this in a container, just an overall good one. Has nice big runners, so that's always good for these strawberries. They're great right in your landscaping. Some of my favorites down here are these really colorful ones. We have, like, this is called Summer Breeze Cherry Blossom. I wanted to show you this beautiful flowering. Sometimes you'll get the white flowers, but then sometimes you get these beautiful pink flowers. They're a double flower. They produce everywhere that these flowers are, you're gonna have a strawberry. This is a great for if you wanna do in a planter or a container, or you just want it in the front of your flower bed where you still want some color, but you want it to be useful and give you some fruit later on. So I would definitely check out the Summer Breeze. This one's Cherry Blossom. We also have Summer Rose, which is a little bit darker of a color. Oh, that's a beautiful flower right there. I mean, it's truly like a little miniature rose. It's great. So this one is just a white flowering one, but this is called Deliz Everbearer. It has a smaller size fruit. It just has lots and lots of them. So this is good if you have kids that, you know, are constantly picking, some young kids that just want to have like something consistently there. So Deliz, beautiful, high yielding. This is going to fruit from June through September. A lot of people put this in a hanging basket. So this is just one that if you ever buy a hanging basket of strawberries, this is that variety usually. You can also do that with that Summer Rose and the Cherry Blossom. Both of those are good for hanging baskets. So these strawberries here, they're all going to come back. They are perennial, so you want to get them in the ground. Generally, you want to have good warm soil temperatures for strawberries. So you want that soil temp to be about 50 degrees. So we're almost there. They don't really like to have too much of a wet soil when you're first planting them. So let's let that dry out just a little bit. It's always good to do like a nice straight line, rototilled up, some manure or compost and manure added in because they are going to be a heavy feeder. They're going to need lots of good nutrition in order to get a good fruit. Strawberries are great for planting, and like if you're going to plant them in your garden, you want to do them at 12 to 18 inches apart. Nice straight rows is really good. I always tell people if you do a nice straight row, You should generally, if you want to make another row, I would say about 3 foot apart. You can always take those runners and kind of train them over to one side. So this is a perfect example. So say you have your row here, and you can kind of train your little runner. So if you see it, here's this little baby on the end, and you can just plant that over on the side, poke it into the soil, kind of train them all that way, keep moving them over. You'll have your next crop of strawberries there, and then once they're fully rooted and big like this one, you can always cut that connection so that you have another straight row. So you can kind of keep making your flower bed or your vegetable bed every 3 foot apart. So you can continue to use those runners to make more baby plants, but eventually you might have to take out the original plant if it's not producing as much for you. So throughout the season, you may have to do some fertilizer with your strawberries. So I recommend a water-soluble fertilizer, probably like an all-purpose fertilizer if you wanted to use something commercial. You can also use some kind of organic fertilizer. That's always great. You can do top dressing of some compost and manure. They need food when they're starting to produce that fruit. So as soon as you start seeing these strawberry flowers, you're going to want to start giving it some form of fertilizer so that it can encourage a nice healthy crop of fruit. And then you can always mulch. A lot of people have a struggle with a lot of weeds. You can use plastic mulch, or you can use some landscape fabric and just cut your holes in there, and then you can put your plants inside, and that will encourage them to grow real nice and big without that competition from the weeds. You can also use like straw. That's always good. Some people will even put newspaper down and then they'll put straw on top of that. You can use like grass clippings. Sometimes I'll do that in some of my flower beds, and that will just kind of block out those weeds. But definitely get out there, pull weeds to let those plants get nice and big. Don't forget the fertilizer. Don't forget the water. If we do dry out, they're going to need consistent watering, especially when they're in their fruit process. But other than that, easy peasy. Grow your own fruit, your own strawberries. This is an easy project to dig into. And we have lots of them. $17.99 a flat, $1.99 a pack. They have been selling pretty quickly. I have a feeling as soon as the weather breaks and the ground dries up that we are going to sell out of them, so don't miss out. Hope to see you soon. Bye.